From excess to access, Tammy Slaton's unexpected new chapter after transformation. The Georgia sunlight, softer now in the late afternoon, caught the subtle highlights in Tammy Slaton's freshly styled hair as she adjusted the collar of her crisp, navy blue tunic top, a size she hadn't dared dream of wearing just a few years prior. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Gone was the suffocating bulk, the constant struggle for breath, the wheelchair that was her prison. In its place stood a woman whose posture radiated a quiet, hard-won confidence. The loose skin, a stark reminder of the mountain she'd climbed, was now concealed beneath well-fitting clothes, a testament to the brutal, transformative surgeries she'd endured. Tammy Slaton, once known primarily for her battles with obesity documented on TLC's 1000, LB SISTRR, was stepping into a role no one, perhaps least of all herself, could have predicted. Patient advocate and peer support specialist at the New Horizons Bariatric Wellness Center. This wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't a flashy reality TV spin-off or a sponsored influencer gig. This was tangible, grounded, and deeply personal. It was the culmination of a journey measured not just in pounds shed, but in tears cried, fears faced, and a profound understanding of the desperate struggle etched onto the souls of those trapped inside bodies they felt betrayed by. The scars beneath the surface, the aftermath of liberation. The physical transformation was undeniable, almost jarring. After reaching a peak weight that threatened to eclipse 700 pounds, Tammy's dedication following her tracheostomy and subsequent weight loss surgery led to a staggering loss of over 400 pounds. But victory wasn't a single milestone, it was a gauntlet. The extensive skin removal surgeries, multiple grueling procedures targeting her arms, torso, thighs, and breasts were less about vanity and more about reclaiming basic function and shedding the literal weight of her past. Recovery wasn't a montage set to uplifting music. It was long, painful weeks spent navigating drains, compression garments tighter than any fat roll, and the raw vulnerability of seeing her body, reshaped yet scarred, for the first time. Amy was a constant, grounding presence, her own journey offering practical advice and a shared language of resilience. Amanda offered tough love and distraction. Chris celebrated her milestones with infectious enthusiasm. But the deepest battle was internal. There were days, Tammy confessed later, her voice softer now, less strained, but carrying the weight of memory, when I'd look in the mirror after the bandages came off, and I didn't recognize the person staring back. It wasn't just smaller. It was rearranged. Scarred. I felt like a map of all my worst mistakes. People see the smaller clothes, the walking, and they think, wow, she made it. But inside? Inside was still the scared girl who ate to hide, who felt unworthy, who didn't know how to be without the weight as an excuse. Therapy became crucial, not just for the body dysmorphia that haunted her, but for unpacking the trauma, the grief, and the complex relationship with food and self-worth that had fueled her obesity for decades. It was during these sessions, grappling with her own identity post-DASH, before, that a seed was planted. The spark, from patient to potential guide. Dr. Erica Sharma, Tammy's therapist, noticed a shift. As Tammy processed her own journey, her language evolved. She didn't just recount struggles, she articulated the feelings, the crushing shame of needing help to bathe, the terror of a simple cough potentially dislodging her trach, the despair of feeling like a burden, the fleeting euphoria of a small victory like tying her own shoes. Tammy possesses an almost uncanny ability to articulate the emotional landscape of extreme obesity and the tumultuous journey out of it, Dr. Sharma observed. It's raw, it's honest, and it resonates because it comes from lived experience, not a textbook. She understands the self-sabotage, the defensive humor, the fear of hope itself. During a group therapy session for post-bariatric patients, Tammy found herself instinctively comforting a woman weeping over stalled weight loss. Without thinking, Tammy shared a low point from her own journey, the crushing disappointment of a plateau after weeks of effort. "I just wanted to eat the whole damn gas station," she said bluntly, eliciting a watery laugh from the woman. But Chris told me, you didn't gain it in a day, you ain't gonna lose it in a day. Now put down that imaginary Snickers and let's walk. Her honesty, laced with her signature dark humor, cut through the woman's despair. A connection was made. Dr. Sharma saw it. The center's lead surgeon, Dr. Benjamin Carter, heard about it. New Horizons was expanding its support services, recognizing that surgery was just the first step. The real battle was fought in the mind and the day-to-day choices. They needed someone who could bridge the gap between clinical advice and the messy, emotional reality. Someone patients could believe because they'd been there in the trenches. The offer, you know what they need to hear. The job offer came quietly over coffee in Dr. Carter's office. Tammy stared at the brochure for the new peer support initiative, her brow furrowed. Patient advocate? Peer support. Tammy echoed, skepticism warring with a flicker of something else. Possibility. Doc, I ain't got no fancy degree. I barely finished high school before everything went sideways. Tammy, Dr. Carter leaned forward, his gaze steady. Degrees teach theory. You live the reality. You know the fear that keeps someone from scheduling that first consultation. You know the pain, physical and emotional, of recovery and the weird loneliness of success when no one really understands what you've been through. You know what these patients need to hear, not just what we need to tell them. He outlined the role, meeting one-on-one with pre-op patients paralyzed by fear, facilitating small support groups, being a presence during post-op follow-ups, sharing her story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to offer tangible hope and, crucially, acting as a liaison between patients and the clinical team, translating anxieties into actionable concerns. It was part cheerleader, part confessor, part reality check giver. Tammy was quiet for a long moment. She thought about the woman in group therapy. She thought about the thousands of messages she received online from people saying her journey gave them hope. She thought about the years spent feeling useless, defined by her limitations. This felt like turning her pain into purpose. All right, she said finally, a slow smile spreading across her face, the one that crinkled her eyes. But I ain't sugarcoatin' nothin'. And if someone needs to hear there bein' a dumbass about sneakin' fries, I'm tellin' 'em. Dr. Carter chuckled. That's exactly what we need. The first day, badges, butterflies, and blunt truth. The first day dawned with a familiar knot of anxiety in Tammy's stomach, the same kind she felt before major surgeries or difficult confrontations on the show. Standing before her closet, filled now with clothes she could actually choose from, felt surreal. She settled on dark slacks and the navy tunic, professional but approachable. Amanda helped her pin on the laminated badge, Tamara Slaton, patient advocate and peer support. Walking into New Horizons not as a patient, but as staff, was a heady experience. Nurses she'd known for years offered warm smiles and thumbs up. Her first appointment was with David, a 38-year-old man facing gastric bypass surgery in 2 weeks. He sat hunched in the chair, radiating fear. Hey David, Tammy said, sitting opposite him, not behind a desk. I'm Tammy. I know Dr. Carter sent you in here to chat. Probably thinks I'm gonna give you some sunshine and rainbows pep talk, huh? David looked up, surprised by her directness. Something like that. Well, forget that. Tammy waved a hand. Let's cut the crap. You're scared spitless, right? Thinking about the pain. What if something goes wrong? What if you wake up and it didn't work? What if you mess it all up afterwards? She leaned in slightly. Been there. Sat in that exact chair, probably sweating buckets like you are now. David blinked. Yeah. Good. That's honest. Tammy settled back. Okay, let's talk about the pain. Yeah, it sucks. Big time. Feels like you've been run over by a semi, then backed over for good measure. You got drains poking out. You feel like your guts are gonna fall out when you cough. It ain't pretty. She paused, letting the reality sink in. But you know what sucks worse? Not being able to wipe your own ass. Not being able to play with your kids if you got 'em. Waking up every morning wondering if this is the day you have a heart attack just trying to get out of bed. Living in a body that feels like a prison sentence. That pain don't go away on its own, David. The surgery pain? It fades. It gets better every day. This? She gestured around the room, encompassing his fears. This is temporary suckage for a chance at a life. A real one. For the next 40 minutes, Tammy didn't lecture. She shared. She talked about the panic attacks she had pre-surgery, the times she nearly backed out. She talked about the first terrifying steps post-op, the frustration of the liquid diet, the weirdness of feeling full after a few bites. She talked about her own stumbles, her stalls, her moments of weakness, and, crucially, how she got back up. She talked about the sheer, overwhelming relief of being able to walk into a store, to fit into a booth, to breathe without a machine. She didn't promise easy. She promised possible. She promised understanding. When David left, his shoulders were less hunched. He didn't look elated, but he looked resolved. He shook Tammy's hand firmly. Thanks, Tammy. Seriously. You get it. The unexpected fit, why Tammy shines. Tammy's effectiveness in her new role stems from qualities forged in the crucible of her own extreme struggle. 1. Unflinching honesty. Patients are bombarded with clinical information and optimistic statistics. Tammy cuts through that with raw, relatable truth. She validates their fears instead of dismissing them, making her subsequent encouragement far more credible. They believe her because she's lived the nightmare they're facing. 2. Radical relatability. She doesn't speak from a pedestal of perfect success. She speaks from the trenches, scars and all. Her admission of ongoing struggles with body image, food noise, and emotional eating makes her journey feel attainable, not mythical. She's proof that progress isn't linear, but it is possible. 3. Compassion forged in fire. Having endured judgment, ridicule, and profound physical limitation, Tammy possesses a deep, non-judgmental empathy. She recognizes the shame and despair because she's worn them like a second skin. Her compassion isn't soft, it's fierce and understanding. 4. The power of been there. No motivational speaker or clinician, no matter how skilled, can replicate the unique bond formed when someone says, I know exactly how you feel, and truly means it. Tammy's lived experience is her most powerful credential. 5. Signature humor. Her blunt, often self-deprecating humor disarms patients and diffuses tension. It makes the overwhelming feel manageable, the terrifying feel slightly absurd. It's a survival tool she now uses to help others survive. Family, fans, and the future. The Slaton family's reaction was predictably emotional and supportive. Amy cried happy tears. My sister, the professional, she squealed, hugging Tammy tight. Chris beamed with pride. Look at you, Tam. Who knew all that hard-headedness would pay off like this? Amanda simply nodded, a rare softness in her eyes. About damn time you used that big mouth for something useful. Fans of the show, accustomed to seeing Tammy's journey unfold on screen, have largely embraced her new path with enthusiasm. Social media buzzes with comments like, this is perfect for her, and who better to help people through this than someone who truly understands the struggle, and seeing Tammy thrive like this gives me hope for my own journey. Of course, Tammy remains Tammy. There are days when the emotional toll is heavy, when listening to others' pain triggers her own. There are administrative tasks she finds tedious. And her bluntness occasionally requires gentle steering from her supervisor. But the core of the work, connecting, understanding, offering hard-won hope, fuels her. More than a makeover, a legacy in the making. Tammy Slaton's journey was never just about weight loss. It was a desperate fight for survival, for autonomy, for a life beyond the confines of her own body. The skin removal surgeries were a physical liberation, but her new role at New Horizons represents something deeper, the transformation of her greatest vulnerability into her greatest strength. She is no longer defined by the weight she lost, but by the weight she lifts for others. She traded the isolation of her before for the profound connection of guiding others through their own darkness. Her unexpected new job isn't just employment. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unexpected ways our deepest wounds can become the source of our most meaningful contributions. Standing in her office at the end of her first week, Tammy looked at the small nameplate on her desk, Tamara Slaton, patient advocate. She touched it gently, then traced a faint scar visible on her wrist. The reflection in the window showed a woman who had walked through fire, bearing the marks, but no longer defined by them. She was a survivor, yes. But now, more importantly, she was a guide. Her unexpected makeover wasn't just skin deep, it had revealed a purpose, solid and real, waiting to be claimed. The journey wasn't over, but the path forward, helping others find theirs, felt like the most meaningful step yet. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.